Welcome to Zed Adventures. We have a great series of episodes or videos for you here in the next coming days, detailing the Grand Tour of Halifax, which you see before you, with a detail for the south end. Basically, this is a 100 kilometer, about 2-hour drive that'll take you through the very best of Halifax metro area and the surrounding countryside. We've just passed the intersection of St. Margaret's Bay Road and Prospect Road, and we're moving eastward basically on St. Margaret's Bay Road. And as you can see, the scenery here is more than passable. You wouldn't expect anything less from a red Zed Adventures driving guide, n'est-ce pas? So as we proceed down St. Margaret's Bay Road, the first notable intersection that you'll reach, and I'll try to guide you through the intersections of this tour in such a way that you feel comfortable making them and driving it yourself without a whole bunch of anxiety or uncertainty. This is the intersection after the first one, and we go straight. Subsequently, we come down a long and lovely stretch to the Rotary, and I'm going to show you that you might have to wait here at the Rotary for somebody who's not sure quite when to go, like this guy. But when it's your turn, eventually, he makes up his mind, and then we have to make sure we don't hit that guy as he takes, there's 2 lanes turning right there, but clearly we survived. And as we proceed up Quinpool Drive now, you can see the northwest arm is on our right. I'm changing lanes just to get you nice and close, and that's what you'll probably want to do if you want to enjoy the view of the northwest arm, which is called the northwest arm because it projects northwest into the land area of the Halifax Regional Municipality. It's funny to me because it's called the northwest arm, but it's in fact south of the south end, and well, I guess the only way it makes sense is it points northwest, as you can see on this graphic, which I will put a little thingumbobber on to make it pretty. Continuing up Quinpool Drive, after we don't have a view of the northwest arm any longer, but still beautiful mature trees, townhouses, and single family dwellings. Quinpool does get very claustrophobic and crowded after Connaught Drive, but we're going to take a right on Connaught and avoid all that crowding and traffic. So we're getting close. We're stopping actually now for the light and the possibility of turning right, which I will skip the delay for you. And here we are moving forward to turn right onto Connaught, which, as you can see, is a wide divided boulevard with mature trees, dappled shade, very nice homes, and we're moving into some of the most expensive real estate in Halifax. But that doesn't matter if you're just driving through. It doesn't cost to use the roads. 4-way stop, actually 3-way stop here at Jubilee, which we're going to take a left. We are taking a left onto Jubilee, and that only goes a couple blocks. Well, it goes further, but we're only going to take it a couple blocks until we reach Oxford Street, where we'll take a right. Here we are, getting up to the intersection at Oxford Street. Camera is anticipating our action, already looking right onto Oxford. And away we go. Some of the houses here are private dwellings, single-family dwellings, and some of them are converted to multiple apartments for students because we're reaching the university area of town. You'll start to see larger and more architecturally modern buildings, which are parts of mostly Dalhousie University, the premier and flagship university of Eastern Canada. And Oxford is a main sort of border street, and we're going to take a left-hand turn on South Street in a moment, which is another sort of border street of the university. Already looking left with the camera to allow you to anticipate that turn. We have taken Oxford Street to South Street, and we're turning now left onto South Street. Dalhousie University is on our left, and parts of it on our right. The athletic center, the student gym is now on our right. They've just rebuilt that, or demolished and created a new student fitness center. It's really fancy and nice. There's some all-weather soccer fields on the left. Pardon me if you're from the UK. All-weather football fields. And as we proceed down South Street, we'll also pass by the world-famous IWK, for Isaac Walton Killiam, IWK Hospital for Sick Children, or Sick Kids, I think it is. Actually, I think in the official title, it's a Hospital for Sick Kids. I don't know if they treat goats, but I do know that they treat children, human children. But it's a sick kids hospital. And that was the ragtop wave you just saw there. There'll be more on the ragtop wave in future editions of Red Zed Adventures. But now we're crossing Roby Street on South Street. Isaac Walton Killiam Hospital, the IWK, is on the left, including the emergency entrance. If you happen to be traveling with children and happen to be having a health emergency, that's your spot. Good Lord willing, that doesn't happen to you, but it could come in handy to know if the event arises. And proceeding, you'll see on the left now the Victoria General Hospital, which does not have an emergency department and is for adults. The emergency department for adults is down Roby Street, which we just crossed a few blocks back. If you were to have turned left there and continued down Roby, you would find the Halifax Infirmary, a hospital for adults with an emergency department. Here we are stopped at South Park and then jumping forward to the next intersection just to save time. Smartly, I've stopped here in the shade for Harper's benefit, and I'm checking on her. Being black as she is, she gets a little heated. In the sunshine, now we're continuing forward on South Street to the next intersection, Barrington. Barrington will come up again, but in this case, we're not going to take it. We're going to cross it at this four-way stop. Ahead of that is the Westin Hotel. It's one of the main hotels in Halifax. I mention that because there's a good chance you may be staying there and you could begin your grand tour from its parking lot. If you're driving by, this is the really hard part. Are you ready? We're gonna stop at this intersection, and it is South Street and who knows what street, and it doesn't matter because as soon as the pedestrians clear, especially this one with the cute little dog, then we're going to turn left and just go, is it even a block? Perhaps half a block? Then we're going to turn right. Again, what's the name of that street? I don't know. Doesn't matter because we're only going another block. And we're going to turn left onto Lower Water Street. and pass under this pedestrian bridge between the Imera building and the Nova Scotia Power building. Two great, glorious boondoggles on the Halifax waterfront. If you buy power in Nova Scotia, that's where your money went. And now we're going to proceed further to have a view on the right of Halifax Harbor in all its glory, unobstructed in this case by a great boondoggle owned by the power company. This is Water Street, or Lower Water Street. It's a one-way. That's why you have to take the Grand Tour in the direction that I suggest, counterclockwise on that great big map I showed you. If you do the other way, well, you're not going to drive down Water Street, are you? It's a one-way. So just take me at my word and drive it in the counterclockwise direction, and you will not have any trouble with any of the intersections. This area has a number of places to stop and shop, eat, drink, tour, museums, other cultural attractions. Just the waterfront itself is a gorgeous walk. If you're of a mind of parking it out of your car, great spot to do it. You'll find a nearly infinite variety of attractions. But if you're just dedicated to driving, or if it's just not that time for you, you know how it is. Like sometimes you feel like pulling over, and sometimes you feel like moving on. So if you're moving on, you're going to continue down Water Street. That was the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic we just passed on the right. Again, something, if you're in the mood for stopping, might be worth a stop. And in balance to mentioning the Westin before, we're just about to reach the Delta. Well, there's two Deltas actually. There's a Delta Barrington and there's a Delta something else, but there's two Delta hotels down here. I'm stopping again in the shade. If it seems like the stoplight is far away, it's only like 4 car lengths. I mean, come on, that's not really far, is it? And you know, it's for my dog, so she can be in the shade, right? No big deal. It turns green, I go. So, having shaded my dog, we pass that's the terminal for the Dartmouth ferry. Actually, if you want to cross to Dartmouth, it's a passenger ferry, not a vehicle ferry. But if you want to do that, there's your chance. Hong Kong, Shanghai, Bank of Canada on the left. I bet you didn't know that's what HSBC stood for. And up ahead, you can see kind of tall and white there in the center of the frame. I think it's a Ramada. But anyway, these are some of there's a Marriott. These are the principal sort of business and tourist hotels of the south end of the metro central Halifax downtown area. So there's a good chance you'll be staying in them if you're visiting. That's why I'm including them on this tour. If you weren't staying in them and you're not interested in visiting this next attraction, you could have veered left at the previous intersection and saved yourself just a little bit of a detour, but it's no big deal. It's a very, very brief one, and you can see we're driving by Casino Nova Scotia, which I think is kind of a civic duty for me to include. I'm not saying you should go visit a casino, but if you're the sort of person whose vacation isn't complete without a chance to gamble, there it was on the waterfront, and now we're turning right again from actually lower water onto upper water, which will take us along Halifax Harbor a little further, past some more nice architecture and views of the harbor, and give us another chance to turn right onto, remember that name, Barrington Avenue. We crossed it just a little while ago, and now as we proceed up a little hill on Upper Water Street, we're going to turn right, merge right, I suppose you should say, onto Barrington Avenue, which will take us all the way past the rest of Halifax Harbor, moving basically north. You'll start to see, perhaps a little bit on your right, the first bridge, the old McDonald Bridge. Remember that. And I think we're going to close this leg of the Halifax Grand Tour here. It's been 15 minutes, and I hope you tune in for the next one. There's a lot more to see. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Zed Adventures.